This is the College Football Connection Podcast with Alvin Reed, Bradford Bruns, and Marty Jenkins on 101 ESPN.
Into December we plunge, and boy, could you ever tell based on the weekend that was across campuses everywhere. Happy holidays, everybody. Bradford Bruns back with you in our now cozy studio space in Creve Coeur. It is the 101 ESPN YouTube channel and 101ESPN.com College Football Connection overtime presentation following Rivalry Week. First and foremost, though, up front, hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday surrounded by those closest to you, assorted friends, family, loved ones. You all probably woke up on Saturday morning, checked outside, thought, what in the heck is materializing at this point? I know that I did, and shortly thereafter, a few hours later, to be specific, in Fayetteville, well, it's not as if the circumstances and the conditions were that different. To start this episode of the CFC, you know that we have to dive into the regular season finale for the Missouri Tigers Battle Line Rivalry on the road, this time around at Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville. 31-17, the final in favor of Eli Drinkwitz and company. Much more on the head coach as we move along during the program. But to say that the entirety of that contest, Saturday afternoon, segueing into the early evening hours, if you were watching it on the SEC network, however you were following along, you knew this is anything but aesthetically pleasing. Heck, it was 17-14 at intermission in favor of the host team, and you were left to wonder, at least temporarily, don't tell me that you didn't, out there in mid-Missouri or anywhere else along the dial consuming our product, that there wasn't a sliver of doubt perhaps in mind. When you have conditions like that of the weather variety, when you're talking about temps hovering between the 30s and the 40s, incredibly slick ball, and you knew by no stretch of the imagination, when you have anything remotely resembling an aerial attack, okay, things can get funky. Arkansas maybe trying to send Bobby Petrino off on a positive note, trying to secure its first conference victory of the season. It would not, however, come to pass, largely based on a ridiculous, yet again, Mizzou rushing attack and a sterling defensive effort down the stretch. We mentioned the lack of passing right off of the bat. And Bo Perbula, let's get some of these statistics out of the way and quickly. 4 of 7. Yes, Kirby Moore called for a grand total of 7 passes, although he was instructing Perbula essentially to go on a bunch of different designed runs early in the ballgame. The mobility that number 9 was able to display just weeks removed from the dislocated left ankle, just his second appearance in game action since all the way back on October the 25th. His 49-yard run, key to Missouri's first offensive touchdown of the game, not even 2.5 minutes in, but from there it was a steady diet on the ground. Ahmad Hardy, Jamal Roberts, rinse and repeat, right? Let's talk about Hardy a bit more right off of the bat as well, because number 29, earlier in the week, I was actually on the scene at Faurot Field when this news was announced. No, not the Drinkwitz extension. We will get to that, I promise. But rather the fact that Ahmad Hardy had been named as a finalist for the Doak Walker Award. In case you're not familiar with as much, that is given to the most esteemed, the best, the number 1 running back in the entire nation at the conclusion of the college football regular season. Now, the competition is stiff. You're talking about Lacey from Ole Miss, yes, who attended and then transferred from Mizzou 1 season ago, along with the native St. Louisan Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame. But if you had put on the tape from yesterday's effort, heck, if you have watched with any consistency throughout the entire campaign, Ahmad Hardy's case is as stout as they come to be running back 1, if you will, in all of the land. Oh, yesterday, just a garden variety, 157 yards, another touchdown, another absolutely signature run, that 53-yarder in the second half when he emerged from the pile and somehow galloped all the way down from left to right to hit pay dirt. just the stuff of legends, quite honestly, when it comes to Missouri running backs all time. We have not seen, and I have said it time and time again, guys, this year on the CFC, we have not seen the blend of breakaway speed and brute physicality from anybody in recent memory, perhaps in the history of the program. It's heady praise, but it's warranted at this point. Also, when you take into consideration the fact that yesterday he established a new season high in carries in totes with 27, and yet Roberts also was able to reach the century mark on the day. Astounding stuff, not only from the running backs for Mizzou. All told, the Tigers piled up more than 320 yards on the ground. Absolutely preposterous stuff when you also factor in the running exploits of Bo Perbula. But the offensive line, the maulers, the road graders, the veterans up there, you're going to be losing a lot next season, no doubt. But to end the regular season on this sort of note, to see the exploits and the accolades, the heroics, frankly, of Hardy once again, to be complimented as well down the stretch. In the fourth quarter, you wanted an exclamation mark. You wanted that exclamation point. How about bringing it from a special teams capacity? It was nice to see Robbins actually knock down a 40-plus field goal in the second half as well. But Kevin Coleman held without a reception naturally on the day. Only Josh Manning recorded a catch as far as the receivers were concerned. 4 of 7 for 25 yards from your QB. That's what's going to happen. For Coleman to take it to the house from 67 yards out, what a nice little bow as well for him heading into whatever Missouri's bowl fate may entail. We're going to find out in the next couple of weeks. Bowl season officially, believe it or not, guys, starts on December the 13th. That's to say nothing of all the CFP ramifications and variables we're going to be deconstructing along with Alvin in a few days on 101 ESPN, the YouTube channel, and 101ESPN.com. But now the Tigers do essentially sit and wait. And they sit and wait, knowing, though, full well that they have the reassurance that their man at the helm of this program, is going to be entrenched in place in the SEC moving forward. And that is certainly not something that can be said for a lot of the universities right now, waiting with bated breath. Also, earlier in the week, on Thanksgiving morning, as a matter of fact, so you're excused if you didn't get to this news, to this announcement right away. That's when the University of Missouri, on the heels of a meeting, yes, on Wednesday late in the afternoon, that adjourned, and shortly thereafter we learned of the new terms and the details stemming from a contract extension for Eli Drinkwitz. Whereas at present, here we are on Sunday, right, on an NFL Sunday, and we're still waiting to figure out whether Lane Kiffin is going to actually fly the coop from Ole Miss to head to LSU or wherever. No, the Tigers have their guy for the next 6 years, an average annual compensation figure of almost $11 million. Drinkwitz staying in place, and perhaps most important of all, you are not doing anything to basically reverse all of the momentum that he has been able to cultivate and create on the recruiting trail, in the portal for sure. So now it is business as per usual for Mizzou heading into bowl season and thereafter. Optimism, I'm not going to say that it reigns supreme, because the second half of this schedule has definitely brought a fair number of obstacles and impediments, right? But if you really take the broad view here for the program at large, you definitely see the trajectory that is ahead and in line for MU moving forward. No doubt about it. When Alvin comes back into place here in the studio as well, we are going to dissect all of those different terms and variables to go along with the path for Mizzou advancing forward. But as another note, as we get ready to sign off here on this holiday weekend edition, if you will, of the College Football Connection, my name is Bradford Bruns. Some results from Black Friday, the stunner that was Texas with 3 losses. Still trying to make that case for the CFP, right? Texas isn't going to be playing in the SEC title game, but it did thwart the undefeated campaign for Texas A&M. Hey, the Aggies have been riding that fine line, right, for the last couple of weeks. Were able to engineer that shocking comeback victory over South Carolina at home, but it was not to be on Black Friday. Texas A&M going down to Arch Manning and company, and then the Saturday results as well. In the game, in a game that we had here on 101 ESPN, Michigan falling to Ohio State, setting up that Big Ten championship bout next Saturday evening in Indianapolis. Number 2 Indiana versus number 1 OSU for all of the marbles as far as the Big Ten hardware is concerned heading into the CFP. Those two teams, no matter what happens, will definitely be factoring into the 12-team equation. What happens, though, to Ole Miss in the event that, despite beating Mississippi State, the rival, in the Egg Bowl on Friday, what if Kiffin does decide to scoop up that job in Baton Rouge? Will the Rebels then be penalized accordingly, maybe not even host a first-round game on campus? All of that still to be determined, but we look forward to all of the developments as they finally come to pass and come to fruition. Thank you very much, St. Louis, and everybody else out there in the audience for getting on board with us here for a little bit of a Mizzou, Arkansas recap. Still so much more to go as we await the bowl destination for Eli Drinkwitz, his squad. But for now, we are signing off from our studio in Creve Coeur. Don't forget, for anything you may have missed regarding the big-time college affairs, the Blues hopefully back at home, getting back on track on the ice. All of that content and more sure to be delved into starting tomorrow morning over on 101 ESPN, bright and early at 7, courtesy of TMA, BK and Ferrario from 11 to 2, and then the Fastlane crew reunited from 2 until 6. My name is Bradford Bruns. Until next time, take care, and we'll catch you very, very shortly.
Thanks for listening to the College Football Connection podcast on 101 ESPN.